Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and I'm back at the beach, back at Horror Hands Beach for a few days. So whilst I'm here, I thought I'd bring you another beach themed, sea themed video. So for this video, I'm going to go through 5 aquatic horror movies that you've never seen. So 5 of my more obscure movies I don't hear people talk about, movies that I don't see in many people's collection. I'm going to go through 5 aquatic horror films that you've never seen. Well, maybe you have, and I'll just look silly if that's the case. But nevertheless, this will be a cool chance to talk about some watery monster movies that I really like. Let's get straight to it. So first movie up is The Barge People from 2018. So this only came out a few years ago, making this the most recent film that's on this list. And The Barge People is I thought it was a great movie, but one that just never really made much of a splash when it first came out, no pun intended. This one kind of came out quietly and just sort of disappeared off. But this is a British film. This takes place along the canals of the UK, and these people are like attacked by these barge people creatures. They're sort of like half human, half fish things. And they're really cool. They can go on land as well. There's a few scenes when they stalk people in this barn and things like that. So that's pretty awesome. And I just like how they use like the canal setting and the UK countryside for this one. It's pretty awesome. It's kind of like the UK's answer to Humanoids from the Deep, and features very much like an 80s creature feature, which is always a good thing. And we don't get many of them from the UK, so that's pretty great. And the Barge People themselves, they look pretty awesome. It's all practical effects, great looking makeup on them. So yeah, this is a movie that I just thought was really, really good, and it's one that more people should see and talk about. Next up we have Croaked, Frog Monster from Hell from 1975. This one also goes under the title of Rana, Legend of Shadow Lake. This one is a very low budget film, filmed out in the sticks by this lake, about this kind of creature. It's not really a frog monster, to be honest. It's a guy in a rubber suit, something more akin to like Creature from the Black Lagoon, in design, not quality, I must stress. But this one's very slow. You don't see much of the creature at all until right at the end. I would have liked a bit more creature action in this one. But having said that, Croaked does have a bit of charm to it. I really like kind of the regional, rural location of this one, all filmed by the lake. It makes for some nice scenery and gives it a bit of like a Buggy Creek feel, although it's not as good a film as that. So this one, it is a very obscure movie. I imagine this one might get released from Vinegar Syndrome at some point. This is part of one of these like Trome films, a little bit like Blades or Frostbiter or Play Dead, all of which have now had a Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome. I think they will get around to this one eventually. So hopefully in the future you will get a chance to check out Croaked, Frog Monster from Hell. Just don't expect too much, and don't expect a full-on frog monster like I did. Next up we have Island Claws from 1980. This is a really good one. This is set on this tropical island, and these marine biologists are doing something, and some chemical gets leaked into the ocean, and it results in killer crabs coming onto the island and attacking all the islanders. So there's a lot of scenes of kind of full-grown adults falling over feebly and getting overcome by these crabs that aren't really doing anything, to be honest, but you got to have them doing something. But having said that, there is a really cool giant killer crab at the end of this movie, which looks great and is almost worth the price of admission alone. So yeah, Island Claws is a really fun one. I really like this one. It's a film that really goes under the radar. It got a very limited release. I think there's like 1,000 copies of this Blu-ray. But if you can track down Island Claws and you like sort of your silly sort of sea-based monster movies, definitely check this one out. I think it's really good, and there's not enough killer crab movies out there anyway. So, but yeah, Island Claws is definitely one of the best. Next up we have Octaman from 1971, and those pesky scientists are at it again. This time they're like by this lake and they find these little octopus creatures, take them on land and start studying them. But the grown-up octaman finds out about this and comes on land himself to start attacking the hapless scientists. This one is just pure B-movie, silly, like rubber monster kind of film, but I love it. It's really entertaining. The octaman in it kind of looks terrible but looks awesome at the same time. It's clearly a man in a rubber suit. When he attacks people, his tentacles just kind of flail over them. I think there's even a couple of scenes where you can see the strings holding up his arms, but it's pretty cool. It's early Rick Baker, which is good. But yeah, this one, if you just want a simple, take your brain out, silly B-movie monster film, Octaman definitely delivers the goods. And this film does have a little bit of a claim to fame. This is actually one of the films that Charlie Brewster is watching in Fright Night, so it's always got that going for it. And then finally we have Zat, also from 1971, and a film that would make a good double feature with Octaman. This one sees this crazy scientist who turns himself into a mutated fish monster to take revenge on the scientists that kind of jilted him and stopped him doing his experiments. So this movie does not care. It just throws the monster out there, and that is all that's going on. It's just this monster rampaging round, and it's got like the sheriff and this monster investigation team going after it. But it kills the scientists quite early on in the movie, and then just proceeds to carry on going around sort of attacking innocent people. But this one is, if you want to see a monster movie where the creature gets a ton of screen time, check out Zat. This monster is in the film constantly, from either just like doing stuff in his lab, swimming, or just walking around nonchalantly. Like every other scene is a scene of the fish monster. It might be the movie monster that gets the most screen time of any of them, which for a simple monster fan like me is awesome. But the film does boast a little bit of good underwater cinematography when he's swimming around. And again, like Octaman, this is just like take your brain out and enjoy the simple B-movie monster film. I challenge anyone not to be entertained by Zat. It's really awesome. So there you go, guys. That's 5 aquatic horror movies that you've probably never seen. Let me know if you have seen them. I'd be really interested to know what you think of any of those movies. And if there's any aquatic horror films that you think I may have not seen, definitely let me know. I'll do my best to check them out. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.